Welcome to the React video stream, etc. I don't know. Excuse me. We're gonna be watching.
Sneeg might be cis, but he has the heart of a normal person.
Okay. We're gonna be watching some videos today. Most of these come from my React channel on my Discord. If you don't already know, if you have any videos you think would be cool, true crime or not, you can go into the Discord and suggest them. That's where we get most of what we watch, because I like watching stuff that you guys also like to watch. So that's it. If you're watching on YouTube, this was streamed. We'd love to have you over at the Twitch stream any day. I stream most days. So we'd love to have you. That's it. And sub to the YouTube if you haven't. Another stay awake video. Killer teen thought murder was a dream. I'm sure.
The footage you are watching was recorded just moments
It's the
after
worst thing I've ever
17-year-old
done, but
Benjamin
he'll still
Elliott
demand
brutally-
Xbox in exchange for my apparent best friend's body.
The footage you are watching was recorded just moments after 17-year-old Benjamin Elliott brutally stabbed his twin sister while sleepwalking.
Wow, I'll say.
Where's your son? Where's your son? Okay, we got EMS is coming.
The officers follow Ben's dad and discover Ben
Sleepwalking?
desperately trying to save his sister's life.
Dude, get out of the way, bro. Why
After
is
doing
this?
chest compressions for about
Ain't-
10 minutes?
Ain't
EMS
no
finally
way this
arrives
cop's
and
letting him
takes
do
over.
that.
Okay, sir, can we take over? Can you step out? Thank you.
His parents, Michael and Kathy, were sleeping in another room when the stabbing took place, so they had no idea what was going on.
What happened, son? It was a dream. He said it was a dream, honey. What the?
Ben also made this claim about dreaming
Yeah,
moments
I'd
earlier
say.
when he called 911.
Harris County 911. What's
My
the
wife's
location
calling
of your
me.
emergency?
I just killed my sister. I thought it was a dream.
What's your name?
Six times 7 equals 42.
All right. Sorry about that.
I killed my sister.
Okay, tell me exactly what happened.
I stabbed her. In the neck. I thought it was a dream. Please, I don't want her to die. I'm sorry.
How old is she?
17. We're twins.
Is she awake?
Yes. She's like barely alive.
After noticing that Ben was whispering into
bro.
the phone, the dispatcher wondered if there was anybody else inside the house.
Is there anyone else there in the house with you?
There is. It's my parents, but they're asleep.
Okay, I need you to go wake them up.
Mom! Dad! What's going on? I can't think. I'm so sorry. You what?
Ben's half-asleep father then rushed into the room and found Megan lying on her bed, covered in blood.
Oh my God!
I could see Megan's face, and she was She was gray and just, it was, I thought that she was gone.
We're going to have to start CPR right now. 1, 2, 3, 4.
As you already saw, EMS took over CPR when they arrived at the house. Officers then placed Ben in handcuffs and escorted him outside.
He said it was a dream, honey. What the? I don't know. I don't know what she's on. It was just a dream, and then it wasn't.
I'm gonna do a search of you real quick, and then I'm gonna put you in the back seat out of this rain, okay?
While Ben waited
Crazy.
in the back of a police cruiser, the police were still inside the house trying to console his parents.
CPR in a bed is wild.
Never been anything wrong with him at all.
Although they
I mean,
desperately
no,
wanted
they're not
going to
make him
understand why
move
this
her.
happened, their
They're gonna
biggest
do it
concern
right where she
now
is.
was the state of their daughter Megan.
I just need to see her.
See her.
We can't. No,
I
we
need
can't.
to
We
see
can't
her.
have.
Take a picture for me. Let me see
Yeah,
something.
can we see something?
No, sir.
After being denied any more access to their dying daughter, Michael and Kathy were then forced to exit the house. Shortly after, Megan was pronounced dead. While the forensics unit took over the Elliott household, Ben was taken down to the sheriff's office. His bloody arms and hands were photographed, and his clothes were collected as evidence. He was then taken to an
That's so
interrogation
fucking
room
sad.
for an interview. While he waited for the detective, his demeanor was strangely calm and collected for someone who had just stabbed their sister. However, it is possible that Ben was just in shock after going through such a traumatic event. Detective Freder Munoz eventually arrived, and Ben immediately asked
Let's see
how
that.
Megan was doing.
Is she okay? Yeah, last time I know about, she was being checked out by the EMS. She is okay.
At this point, the detective was well aware that Megan was dead, but he's intentionally withholding this information to keep Ben talking.
So what happened, Benjamin? You ever have like a really realistic nightmare where like just everything feels real, but also off at the same time?
Although Ben has never done anything this violent in the past, this wasn't his first sleepwalking episode. In one incident, Ben unconsciously wandered into the bedroom where both of his sisters were sleeping. He then stood in the doorway in a sinister way.
Ben was standing in the doorway, not moving, just kind of staring at us. His eyes were like barely open. And then we told him to go back to bed. And he just turned around and went to bed. We told our parents the next morning, and Ben had no memory at all.
Another time at a childhood sleepover, his friend found him eating a donut in the middle of the night, completely unconscious.
You would have to have gone, walk over to the stovetop, open the box, grab a donut, and then walk back to the couch where he was sleeping earlier. Just the sheer confusion on his face, like he genuinely seemed baffled as to how that happened.
Ben tried to describe how he felt during these recurring episodes and explained that he was unaware of what he was doing until waking up. But the detective wasn't buying it. He asked Ben to provide a more detailed play-by-play of the night.
I mean, it's not
Apparently,
unheard
before
of.
Ben went to bed, he and his dad were playing a video game, which happened to be called Survive the Nights. His dad noticed that one of the knives in the game looked similar to a knife that he owned in real life, so he told Ben that he could have it.
Now let me ask you, the knife that you had in your hands, where'd you get it from?
From my dad. He had given it to me that day. I was really enamored with it.
Once everybody went to bed, Ben stayed up late on his phone researching more outdoor survival.
Oh, that
and
dad's
scrolling through
never gonna
Where
forgive
would that phone be
himself.
at right now?
Somewhere at the crime scene.
Ben is claiming that this was all an accident, that he didn't commit a crime, yet he just referred to his house as a crime scene. The detective noted this potential slip-up and listened carefully for
Okay,
others in
but
Ben's timeline of events.
it's a
The next
crime
thing
either
Ben
way.
said was that
What?
after browsing the web for a while, he
That's
fell asleep
nothing.
at around 3:30 a.m.
So you go to sleep. What's the next thing you remember?
The next thing I remember is like the feeling.
It was a
of
stabbing.
something.
As soon
Yeah.
as Ben stabbed Megan, he became aware that he was sleepwalking.
Like, that
and
is a crime
realized what
scene.
he had done.
I was in her room.
He's not even
And I
denying what
turned on the
happened. He
light.
called
I
911.
was panicking.
No.
And I tried to stop bleeding with the pillow that was behind her. I like did that.
After about 10 seconds, he realized his efforts weren't working, so he called 911 for help.
So I run in my room and I unplug my phone and I dial 911.
How many times did you stab her?
Just once.
Actually, Ben stabbed Megan not once, but twice. Sleepwalkers almost always have a clouded memory following an episode, so maybe Ben was asleep when he stabbed his sister. But the detective refused to believe this bizarre explanation. He wondered if the twins had any underlying issues that could have motivated Ben to do this.
So how's your relationship with Megan? Good. She's my twin sister. I'd do anything for her. We're pretty close for siblings.
No rivalry there?
No.
You guys having any recent fights or anything like that?
No.
God damn,
If he
bro.
didn't have issues with Megan, maybe he had a mental illness that caused a violent outburst.
Have you ever been diagnosed with any mental illnesses?
No.
According to Ben, everything was hunky-dory. He did say that he was struggling with schooling.
I've had some issues with school stuff sometimes.
But his problems at school were pretty minor, and he was clearly optimistic about his academic future.
Bro used hunky-dory.
Mechanical engineering. I'm taking the SAT.
You're not going to take it now, bud.
Friday? No, Saturday.
No, you're not.
About 2 hours into the interview, the detective finally broke the tragic news about Megan, paying close attention to Ben's reaction.
I'm sorry to hear about you. Megan did not make it.
The chilling lack of emotion from Ben after being told his twin sister was dead immediately raised red flags for the detective. Although Ben continued to insist that he was asleep and that the stabbing was an accident, his admission to the killing was enough for the police to charge him with Megan's murder.
Hello, I'm Len Cannon.
I mean, shock affects everybody different.
A 17-year-old girl is dead after police say she was stabbed in her own bed.
The person now facing charges, her twin brother.
Detectives trying to decipher what happened inside this Katy home early this morning. Harris County Sheriff's deputies responded to a 911 call shortly before 5 a.m. Inside, they say they found 17-year-old
You can't really take reactions like that as evidence.
A knife on
People
the
are
ground.
very different in how they react to
was on top
everything.
Of her, performing CPR. But investigators say he is their suspect.
The siblings are normally very close, and you really have that kind of bond between.
I mean, yeah, like he's literally, he admitted to it. Like, what? Why is
They
this?
seem to get along, one neighbor told us in Spanish. Just recently, he saw the twin brother pull out an umbrella to help his twin sister stay dry in the rain. How things went from that to a deadly stabbing has the community wondering what went wrong.
Yeah, I mean, it's a curious
Ben pled not
reaction,
guilty
but
and was released on bond after his family posted his $100,000 bail. Meanwhile, the forensics team was processing the evidence from Megan's room. Strangely, there was very little blood spatter where the killing took place, which was unexpected
Holy
considering the
shit,
severity of
no.
Megan's stab wounds. Other than the bed, the only thing that had a substantial amount of blood on it was the pillow that Ben had supposedly used to manage the bleeding. The investigators believed that the only logical explanation was that Ben was covering Megan's head with the pillow at the time of the attack, blocking the blood from getting everywhere. Ben insisted that this was all the result of a bad sleepwalking episode, but even his own attorneys struggled to believe this claim. They wondered if Ben actually had schizophrenia, just like his grandfather. However, after a series of psychological tests, it was clear that Ben wasn't suffering from any psychological issues. So they brought him to a neurologist named Dr. Gerald Simmons, who specializes in sleep disorders. After several tests, his conclusion was that Ben was likely experiencing a parasomnia episode, specifically sleepwalking, when he killed Megan. Ben's defense team hoped that Dr. Simmons' findings would be enough to have the charges dropped.
Nope.
However, the prosecution made it clear that they were not backing down. And
Not
in
a
April of
chance.
2023,
He's going to
a
be
grand
found
jury
guilty. There's
indicted
no
Ben
way.
for the first-degree murder of his sister.
Yeah.
The prosecutors offered Ben a plea deal. If he pled guilty to first-degree murder, they would limit his sentence to 30 years in prison. Ben turned down this offer, and on February 18,
no
2025,
way.
3.5 years after Megan's death,
Guilty.
his trial began.
All right.
In the prosecution's opening statement,
He ain't making
they
it
told
out of
the jury
prison.
that the sleepwalking defense is complete nonsense because Ben's statements contradicted the core principles
There's literally
of
no
sleepwalking.
evidence.
Number one, you have no short-term memory if you're sleepwalking. The prefrontal cortex of your brain is turned off. You don't have memories from the moments leading up to sleepwalking. You don't have a memory of the episode itself.
The next thing I remember is, like, the feeling of stabbing something.
Number two, you're not dreaming. You can't, because the prefrontal cortex in your brain is switched off.
You ever have, like, a really realistic nightmare?
And your final principle, confusion upon arousal, disorientation, not knowing where you are sometimes.
I was in her room, and I turned on the light, and I was panicking, and I tried to stop bleeding with the pillow,
What was behind her?
On top of all of these inconsistencies, they also pointed out that the state of Megan's body suggested she was dead long before Ben called 911.
She's pale.
Pale is pretty damning.
Her lips are turning blue.
That doesn't exactly happen
The only
fast.
person that knows when the offense occurred is the defendant.
They wrapped up their opening presentation by ridiculing Ben's behavior throughout his interactions with the police, saying that this alone was extremely incriminating.
He calls 911 at 4:41. Hello? Hello? I stabbed her with a knife. He's whispering. And you'll see his demeanor in the interview. I'm sorry to tell you this, but Megan has succumbed to her injuries. And the defendant says,
As for the defense, they knew how ridiculous their sleepwalking defense was going to sound to the jury. So they showed the jury that their
Because
claims
his
are
parents
supported
are
by
asleep.
actual
Yeah,
science.
because he's trying to get away with murder.
Is this just some made up baloney as a really creative defense? The answer is absolutely not. During certain parasomnias, in extreme cases, victims have been stabbed with knives.
He's whispering because
or
it's late.
hit with blunt
He's trying to get
Ladies and
away
gentlemen,
with
Ben
murder.
Was not intentionally and knowingly committing acts against his sister.
They also suggested that Ben wasn't trying to whisper during the 911 call.
Don't
In
justify
reality,
this.
He was in shock and doing everything in his power to save his sister's life.
He's saying things like, "Oh my God,
Don't do
it was a
this.
dream.
Don't
No,
do this.
She's breathing. Please, please, please. I don't want her to die."
He called the police.
Prosecution called
He's 17, stabs his sister twice, realizes the gravity of the situation, and looks into how to get out of it. There are plenty of people who call the police when they do their crime. Be so serious right now. He's guilty as shit, guys. Like, what are you talking about? What do you, like, don't justify this because you're getting, like, I understand that some of this might hit home. Some of this might get, like, feel a little ableist, etc., because it's kind of like, yeah, it sort of hits that factor of like, well, certain people just don't respond correctly to some things. Murderers respond just like that plenty, guys. Like, don't get it twisted. That doesn't mean that response means nothing. They're using it means nothing. Okay? There's no science behind this sleepwalking shit. He absolutely did it. He realized the second he started it how fucked up it was, because why wouldn't you? And immediately tried to fix the situation by using some bullshit. How else is he going to get, like, how else would he try to get away with that realistically? Like, come on, guys. Let's not. This is just as ridiculous as a killer trying to act insane for the insanity plea. Like, this is just as stupid.
an assortment of law
And it has
enforcement
nothing to
and
do with
experts to
any
the
sort
scene
of mental
and took the
condition
jury
or
through all of the body
neurodivergency.
cam footage, crime scene photos, and blood spatter evidence. They slowly introduced their theory that Megan had a pillow over her head at the time of the murder, suggesting that Ben had meticulously thought out a plan to muffle his
Agree.
sister's screams as he killed her. The
Agree.
only state witness that wasn't an expert or law enforcement was Ben's father, Michael. Right off the bat, the prosecution did something that shocked the courtroom.
This is a photo taken from an autopsy.
It was over her face. He's claiming it was over her face to try to stop the bleeding. But it's equally as possible it was over her face when he started to try not to get blood everywhere. And then he was like, oh shit, I stabbed my sister and there's blood everywhere. I should probably do something about this. Or he did it, let her die, and then tried to get away with it by pretending it was so immediate and he didn't know what was happening. Why'd they show the dad? Because he's on the stand. They have to show him. He's one of the people that said she looked gray, first of all.
No further questions, Your Honor.
The state's decision to force Michael to identify his
Like, he
daughter's
has
dead
to see the
body
evidence.
was reprimanded by many who watched this trial. It's unclear why they couldn't have shown Michael a photo of Megan when she was alive, but some believe that the state simply wanted to torment Michael for supporting his killer son. They rested their case, and it was now the defense's turn. They focused on the state's
I think it's a little more
weakness,
nuanced
their
than
lack
that.
of motive. They called several character witnesses to the stand to show that Ben was a consistently good kid, and that his relationship with his sister was loving.
Ever notice that if the sweet kid or the tender kid changed into somebody else?
Absolutely not.
Did you ever know Ben to have any violent tendencies towards Megan?
No. The biggest drama they had was like Ben being a know-it-all when they played video games. And I feel like that's pretty regular. Like, it's just a good run.
They also had multiple people testify to Ben's previous sleepwalking experiences to show that this...
Yeah. You guys do this a lot where, like, you get very emotional about how the prosecution or the defense acts. And I get that, but it's their job. Like, it's their job. Like, they don't have to do some of these things, but they have to do their job. Like, their entire purpose and motivation is to make their side win. So they're doing things to make, like, their side have a better chance. And that may look fucked up and sound fucked up to you, because in reality, a person just saying that or doing that or acting that way is a little fucked up. But when they're trying to justify a murderer to get that murderer lesser charges or free, that's what they have to do because it's their job. You know what I mean?
Wasn't something Ben just made up to get away with murder.
Ben was standing in the doorway, not moving, just kind of staring at us.
He was lying on the couch, his head on the armrest, facing my way, and he was eating a donut.
In fact, members of Ben's family testified about their own parasomnia experiences as well, including his great aunt Martha.
All I know is I came to in the bushes, clutching my dog.
Apparently, sleepwalking was a common parasomnia within the Elliott family. According to Dr. Simmons, this increased the odds of Ben having the same sleep disorder. Dr. Simmons gave an in-depth analysis about the sleep studies he conducted with Ben and explained why he believed Ben was telling the truth. There were two important observations about Ben's sleep
I'm sure that's not biased at all.
The first important observation is that Ben had...
What about the rest of your studies with other people, though? Do those exist? Do those exist, though? Probably not.
Obstructed sleep apnea, which can trigger a sleepwalking episode. However, sleepwalking can only occur in stage N3 of your sleep cycle, which
REM
brings
sleep.
us to observation
Right before
number
REM
2.
sleep.
During Ben's sleep cycle, he entered stage N3 in about 11 minutes, much faster than the average person. This is important because although Ben thought he fell asleep around 3:30 a.m., his phone activity
Quite the
actually
time frame.
stopped at 4:17 a.m., 24 minutes before he called 911. This meant that Ben only had 24 minutes to fall asleep, enter stage N3, and kill his sister. For an average person, this wasn't nearly enough time.
That is
but since Ben entered
very
N3
small.
sleep unusually fast, this theory was totally plausible.
Ridiculous.
What is your opinion about the events that occurred on September 29th of 2021?
Ain't no way.
It was a perfect storm of circumstances.
Ain't no
this was an
way.
event was a parasomnia.
In the rebuttal phase of the trial, the prosecution had the opportunity to call their own sleep expert to the
If
stand.
he's fully aware of
Dr.
his
Mark
sleepwalking
Preston.
too, he could
believed
absolutely
that
use
whether or
that.
not the defense's sleepwalking theory was possible, it was irrefutably debunked by Ben's recollection of that night.
I concluded he was not in a sleepwalking state.
How did you come to that conclusion?
Not to mention the recollection to the witness testimonies by his sister and his friend. both say that he did not recollect it at all, what led up to it or what was happening. So
He had memory. He is said to have
he
come
still
out of the
killed
state.
her. Guys, okay. The important piece, and this happens a lot, right? They're not denying that. They're not denying who killed her, guys. It's not like he's sitting here saying, I didn't do it. He's saying, I did it. Like, that's not what this court case is. This court case is arguing intent. He's pleading not guilty to first-degree murder. The defense is attempting to make it reasonably doubtful that he committed first degree. There's not that he didn't do it. Like, you have to understand the precise argument within a courtroom. Wouldn't it be manslaughter? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. They're not going to change the charge. You can only get charged for, you can't get charged multiple times for the same crime. There's laws against it. It's called double jeopardy. That's not allowed. Like, he's being tried for first-degree murder, right? The defense's job is only to make it doubtful that first degree happened. It doesn't, everything else doesn't matter. That's the only thing. It's not whether he did it, it's whether he planned to do it, right? The defense has to justify what he did as an accident to make reasonable doubt happen. So the jury can't, the defense's job is to make it to where the jury can't say for 100% certainty that he planned to do this. That's the only thing they're focused on. Nothing else about this matters. Nothing else about this matters. The type of murder it would be instead, none of it matters. Their goal is to make it reasonably doubtful that it's first degree. That's all that it is. And the prosecution's job is to lay that fact deeper. That's it. It doesn't matter, like, if it ends up being, it's not going to end up being manslaughter. It's not going to end up being whatever. He didn't take a plea deal. So he's either guilty of first degree or not guilty of first degree. He will not be charged a second time. He cannot be charged a second time. Like, this is the court case. It's first degree or not. That's why it's so hard. That's why it's very hard to go for first degree murder. Because you get one attempt. But when you have a phone call of him saying he did it, him at the crime scene, him saying he did it, him describing he did it, the parents saying he did it. Unsure if this is allowed, but can the prosecution try to appeal a not guilty verdict afterwards? Or is that only if the defendant gets a guilty verdict? No. The prosecution can't appeal a nuh-uh. No. Defense can't. So I get what you're saying. When the defense makes appeals, it's not to completely, like, get out of it. It's to appeal specifics of it, not necessarily the whole thing. They can't just be like, I want a do-over. Once again, double jeopardy can't happen. It's illegal. You'll famously know that OJ, after being acquitted of the murder of his wife, which he absolutely did, eventually went on to publish a book called If I Did It. Talking about if he murdered his wife, what he would do. Because they can't charge him for the same crime twice, or didn't, or couldn't. I mean, he's dead, whatever. So yeah, like the only focus here is the type, is whether it's first degree or not. Like and this happens a lot with jury duty, where like, oh, I can bet a lot of the jurors are sitting here like, damn, like this dude killed his sister and is already assuming guilt or wanting. This is a hard jury to select, I imagine, because a lot of people are just going to be like, he killed this girl. That's fucking crazy. This guy's guilty. But that's not the argument. That's not the argument being made, unfortunately. It's not a question of whether he did it. It's a question of whether he planned to do it. And that's the argument being made here. There's no other, the factors of if he did it aren't even in the equation, or shouldn't be. But people have a hard time removing that equation because you're a human and personal bias gets in the way all the time. And that's part of the problem. It's hard to be unbiased. Everybody has biases in some way or another, whether intense or not. So
much faster than any sleepwalker could ever do.
After 4 days of testimony, it was time for the closing argument.
yeah, I'm sure Ben is just an absolutely special sleepwalker. He's just an efficient one.
He stabbed her in the neck twice. There's no blood spraying in the room. You know why? The only thing soaked in blood is the pillow that he muffled her screams with.
How could a kid who cherishes his sister...
Kind of crazy that she didn't make a sound if she got stabbed and was still sort of alive. Unless something was over her face stopping her from screaming. Yeah, exactly. Like, is the jury allowed to take notes during trial? Yeah. They can't share it amongst each other until deliberation, but they're allowed to keep personal notes and stuff.
Who loves her, who protects her. How could someone commit a crime that heinous unless there was a reasonable explanation?
Mr. Rucker and I have disproven.
Such a good way to put it. Such a good way to put it, because plenty of people think like that. What argument is that? That's 90% of civilization, guys. I can't believe somebody would do this. They did. This is real. Because it's human. Unfortunately, this person is the reality of humanity, as well as we are. It's a great argument. People have a hard time believing people would do shit like this. But it is exactly what people can and would do and have done many a time. Unfortunately, it's what happens. People have a really, really difficult time accepting that reality. They need an explanation. Other than, yeah, humans can do that. And some humans just decide to do that. That's why people think serial killers are so fascinating or so obscure or unfathomable. That's why the idea of a serial killer was denied and thought to be impossible for years and years and years, until people like Dahmer and Bundy and Gein got so much publicity, because nobody wants to imagine a dude just existing for 40 years and then just decide he's going to start killing people randomly and for no reason other than he wanted to. It's really, really difficult for people to accept that. So it's honestly a good argument by the defense, in the sense that, like, people have an awful time thinking about that. They have an awful time considering people just do this shit. There has to be a reason. There has to be a reason. There's no way he would just do that. Yeah, Yahweh. He could just do that. He would. He could just do that every day. You could just do that. That doesn't mean there isn't consequences to it, but unfortunately, you can just do that. It takes one shitty day to be a murderer. One. And everybody's capable of it, unfortunately. Otherwise, it wouldn't happen. just factual.
Than what they have tried to sell you. Their narrative of what happened.
The biggest thing that they're hanging their hat on is the lack of motive. While I didn't give you motive, I did show you premeditation. It's no coincidence that.
Yeah, great little anecdote. John Wayne Gacy donated his brain to science, and there's no anomaly. There's nothing. If there was something, it'd be so easy to find out and see people or see it coming. But he literally donated his brain and was like, you won't find anything. He just wanted to do that. He just decided to do that.
The knife he used to kill his sister
Just
was
decided
the very
to
knife he got the day before. They have been protecting him.
Trap and kill
from the get-go.
It is important to never think that you will not or is incapable of doing any wrongdoing.
Children. I get it, but you can't let them get away with it. I want you to look in this courtroom. There are so many people here for Benjamin. There is not one person here for Megan.
I'm going to object to that.
Following this intense battle, Ben gave his mom a hug outside of the
Whoa.
courtroom, knowing that it might be his last.
Are you
After
fucking
just 4 hours
stupid?
of deliberation, the jury had reached their
It's the same people.
We, the jury, find the defendant Benjamin David Elliott guilty of murder as charged in the indictment.
Can't believe it.
Signed by the foreman of the jury.
Shocking.
Ben sat emotionless as his guilty verdict was read aloud by the
Almost
judge.
like sleepwalking
His
is
parents
not
were
a
in
fucking
disbelief
science or
as they
excuse.
watched from the benches. Ben's sentencing took place the next day, on February 25th, 2025. The prosecution pressed the
life in
judge
prison.
to give Ben 40 years in prison, saying that he
Yep.
clearly had no
Maximum
remorse
for sure.
his actions. On the contrary, the defense
Maximum
called Michael's dad
for
to the
certain.
stand once again, trying to convince the judge to hand down the minimum sentence of 5 years.
The argument was made that your son has shown no remorse.
That's
How would you answer that argument?
that is stunningly untrue. He has been frustrated, he's been angry, he's been incredibly sad, he's broken down literally on the floor screaming.
Now, the court
Did I see
has
what happened with speed? I mean,
a decision on punishment
no.
to make in this case.
I don't really keep up with what he's
Tell the
doing.
judge,
I'm also knowing your streaming.
daughter, how you think
So
she would want this to play out.
She would want lenience. She would want compassion for Ben.
After taking everything into consideration,
Oh, that's fun.
the judge handed down
Love
Ben's
that.
sentence.
I look at what the jury has told me, and
I'm sure that wasn't done on
unsolicited,
purpose.
They told me to be lenient with Mr. Elliott. Stand up, Mr. Elliott. Your range of punishment is from 5 years to 99. I sentence you to 15 years in prison.
Benjamin Elliott was sent to the Connolly Unit in Kennedy, Texas, where he will remain until the year 2040.
15 years only is interesting. One of my thoughts about the case, phew. I'm shocked it was only 15 years. I mean, I get it. Young offender. A bit of an interesting one, but also kind of an open and shut one at the same time. I think try to do any other excuse. Besides pseudoscience. Anything else. There is nothing scientific about sleepwalking as of right now in terms of crime. I'm sure there's plenty of research on sleepwalking. But in terms of in terms of murder, no. Like saying that you came to and you had a knife in your sister's neck is not. Are you fucking serious? I mean, that's insane. Like, that's ridiculous. There's just no way, dude. Like, you stabbed your sister. Go to jail. I don't know what to say. That's fucking crazy. My guess is he's 17, stupid, just got a knife, wanted to try it, tried it a little too well, went, oh shit, and then tried to get out of it. Because he's a fucking idiot who got a knife and was like, whoa, what if I stab somebody? And was like, well, my sister's right there.
He probably saw that sleepwalking episode of Criminal Minds and assumed it would work in real life.
He also just had the excuse because plenty of people had told him he sleepwalks. Except once again, like, why do you try it on her throat? Because people have stupidly morbid curiosity. Why do you guys watch this shit? Why do you watch a video? Why do we watch a video together about a dude killing his twin sister? Because you're morbidly curious. Objectively. It's just how it is. The same reason when you drive down the highway and there's an ambulance, everybody slows down. Everyone subconsciously slows down. That's why there's traffic. There's no other reason for traffic on the highway when there's an accident other than people going, what's going on? Because they're curious. Some people are a little too curious and stupid.
Sneeg, would you ever watch a Rotten Mango video? I think their videos are really good.
I don't know what that is. I think using a sleeping disorder as an excuse to murder is a pretty shitty one. Pretty boneheaded move. Almost like a 17-year-old came up with it.
From watching Crime Time on is a nice plus to my day. Hello.
Almost like a fucking teenager came up with it. I don't know, guys. True crime deep dives. Very respectful to the victims. For sure. That's probably it for today for reacts. I think it's about time I get started gaming with Joe, Chris, and Zeusy. If there's a good video by them, put it in the react suggestions on the Discord, please. By all means. It's time to game with the boys, though. I do have to pee, though. I have to pee, and I don't have dinner. Hannah made chicken noodle soup and asked if I wanted it, and I don't. I mean, like, one thing that I don't really like. Please don't attack me. I don't like chicken noodle soup that much, admittedly. I don't know why. It's just not for me. Really? I don't know. I just never like it. I can't deny that it like makes me feel better, because like people feel better after chicken noodle soup for sure. It doesn't, like, I don't like it. It just doesn't work for me personally. I don't know what to say. I would prefer like a broccoli cheddar soup or like a potato soup. or yeah, I don't know. Anyway,